It is the Riot Podcast, the Wednesday, November 22nd edition, Thanksgiving Eve. And so, of course, there's some Thanksgiving talk where we discuss. I actually think I threw Isaiah for a loop by bringing up Thanksgiving leftovers and kind of a brain-wrinkling theory on Thanksgiving leftovers. So that's in there.
We also talked about why getting a real tree for Christmas could be dangerous.
It could be real dangerous.
Could be stressful.
I'll tell you right here up front, I don't recommend it. Do not get a real tree. If you are considering it, I would advise against it. We also have a good segment on parents that are trying to help out their kids at college in a problematic way. I think we can agree. It's a good show. You should definitely enjoy it and have a great Thanksgiving. Also, don't forget, if you haven't seen, there's a bonus podcast in this feed as well. So enjoy that one as well. And we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot, RadioU.
You ever gone to a Christmas tree lighting?
I believe I have.
When you were like 5 or
Younger, yes.
yeah. It's a good activity for kids.
I think I might have sang it once.
You sang it in
I
a
did.
choir or
In a
solo?
In a choir.
You were asked to, I hope.
I was in the choir.
Yeah.
It was my high school choir. I believe I have sang at the Christmas tree lighting before.
Wow. What do you mean you believe? I feel like you would remember that.
I'm not sure. I mean, I was in like the town square.
Yeah.
And it was Christmas time.
Mhm.
And I was singing Christmas songs. And I believe there was a tree lighting, but I'm not too sure.
But there was so much hustle and bustle going around.
I wasn't really focused on
You were focused on the singing.
not what was going on around me.
Yeah.
They probably were lighting the tree as I was singing. I probably had back to the tree.
Doesn't that sound beautiful? Doesn't that sound what a moment?
It did sound beautiful, as you can imagine.
A lot more beautiful than, I don't know if you've seen the video going around, the tree lighting in Orillia, Ontario, where, I mean, you know how the tree lighting works. As soon as night falls, everybody's gathered around. It's usually the mayor of the town, his big shining moment, and everybody counts down, and you expect to see a tree burst into light. But for the town of Orillia, Ontario, everybody counts down, and then you see just a little streak of light go up the center of the tree, and that's it. And there's like no applause. Somebody literally in the video goes, "That's it." They said this is a historic tree in town. The explanation: it's a historic tree in town, and every year they light it up. But now it's getting so old that they didn't think that the limbs could support Christmas lights, so they only lit up the trunk. But they didn't tell anybody ahead of time.
It's a big tree.
It's a tall tree.
The tree is big. If they lit the whole thing up, it probably would look really cool.
It would be. I bet if you look at the video of this tree lighting from 2022, it's probably fantastic.
But it's just the literal center of the tree.
Yeah. If you imagine just a tree trunk, and that's the only thing lit up, and then of course you have the limbs kind of blocking the light from the tree.
So it's just
trunk.
one strip.
Yeah.
It's a literal in the dead center. I thought it was a tree in front of another tree.
I at first thought they just like hung one string of lights just kind of like dangling down, like from the ground up to the top of the tree, which would be a major.
Look at this crowd.
Yeah. No,
I mean the crowd's large.
It's a big tree. It's a big moment in town. But they're calling it the saddest tree in Canada because, look how tall that tree is. It's
a big tree.
You can understand why people would get excited.
So the population of Orillia, Canada, 31,000.
And they all turned out for this.
And they all were there.
Yeah.
Everybody was there.
You think that mayor's getting reelected?
Not after a stunt like this.
Yeah.
It's like the only time you see the mayor.
That's right.
Like, when else are you going to see the mayor outside of when he lights the Christmas tree?
Maybe like in Canada be a July 1st parade, Canada Day. Other than that, this is his one moment.
He's talking on a microphone, lighting up the tree.
Thanking the city council and the sponsors that helped put this together, the Chamber of Commerce.
And then he lights it up and I mean, this is just it's a little bit embarrassing.
What a reaction.
I would have said maybe at least go colors. Would that have helped?
No, you can't put that. That's putting lipstick on a pig.
Nothing's helping that.
Just get a tree that you put up in town like every other town instead of doing this.
Don't put it on the oldest tree in town.
Yeah,
it's gonna
exactly.
possibly fall down.
No matter how big it is.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow at RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
I hope you're ready to have a fantastic Thanksgiving filled with football. I feel like just about every household on Thanksgiving has football on at some point. Even if you don't care about football at all, it's just part of Thanksgiving, right?
It is, yes. I'll be watching it all day long.
Yeah. I watch, the football is always on Thanksgiving, but I didn't remember this. Do you know that the Thanksgiving football games all have halftime shows?
I didn't remember that.
I didn't realize it either. But I've got the acts here that are performing at each of the 3 Thanksgiving games tomorrow. Actually, fairly well known. So first you have the Packers and Lions, and that will feature Jack Harlow performing at halftime.
Okay,
it's a pretty big deal.
Well, he's a big Lions fan.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
I did not know that.
He's a big Lions fan.
No wonder I hate him. At the Commanders-Cowboys game. Check this out. Dolly Parton. Yeah.
She's just on a tour right now.
She's got a new album out.
The Tennessee game last weekend.
Yeah.
This weekend, the Cowboys game. Feeding right into her fans.
Pretty exciting.
Pretty on brand.
And finally, you have the 49ers and Seahawks. Steve Aoki will be the halftime show.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, right? Hip-hop. Country, EDM.
I like their style.
And Dolly's doing her thing right now because she just put out a rock album. So it's actually a little bit of something for everybody, you could say. Now, I here's what I don't know. I was thinking, I don't remember very many Thanksgiving halftime acts at any of the games. Then I thought maybe they don't really put them on TV. But it did remind me of this. Isaiah, have you seen the only Thanksgiving halftime show I can think of, and that is the Creed halftime show at the Dallas Cowboys game.
A couple years ago?
In 2020. It was in 2001.
What? I mean, I was 3.
Yeah, but have you seen the video of it? Because you can't forget it. I was like, do they do Thanksgiving? Well, that Creed thing had to be. And I looked it up, and it is the wildest video you can possibly
imagine.
Yeah. It's the band Creed, the rock band
All
Creed.
All wearing Cowboys jerseys.
There's Cirque du Soleil guys with their heads shaved, no shirts on, and they're holding those curtains and floating up and doing aerobics or whatever in the sky in the Cowboys stadium. There's a black children's choir that has one little white boy in it. There's a couple that looks like they should be on Dancing with the Stars, and they've got choreographers around that. It is, and then the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and then in the midst of all of that, stitched in with footage from 9/11, because it was 2001. 9/11 had happened 2 months ago.
That's how Creed does it, man.
Yeah.
They don't mess around.
It all closes out. It's supposed to be this inspirational thing. It's crazy to me that Creed was ever. It's not crazy that Creed exists and that people like him. It's crazy they were ever popular enough to do that at a halftime show.
What, the Thanksgiving halftime show?
Yeah.
Well, you think about who's performing at it now.
Yeah.
Jack Harlow, Dolly Parton, Stevie Aoki. Creed's right there with them. Back in 2001, what they were.
I guess so.
I didn't want you on here crapping about Creed.
No, watch that video.
I was just watching. I mean, it's a wild video.
It's wild. You got to crap on him.
No.
Everybody should today go watch the Creed halftime show. It's the takeaway I want to give everyone.
And there's no way that any of these performances tomorrow are going to even touch it.
Yeah. No, I will be much more dialed in for Dolly Parton than the actual Commanders and Cowboys game, but there's no way Dolly can top Creed in 2001.
No chance.
No chance.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Isaiah, you came in here today. You were hot dogging.
I'm always hot dogging.
You were doing a little extra hot dogging today because you were talking to me. You're saying the Cavs won in they won their game against the 76ers last night.
Which is always a big game for us. 76ers and us.
Is it a rivalry?
It's not a rivalry, but we're always the 3 and 4 teams in the standings for the East.
Yeah.
And so we're just always trying to jump them.
Always like a bridesmaid, never a bride.
It's always an important game
You're
for
never
us.
like a real contender, but you are.
What are you talking about?
Near there.
But we just beat them last night.
I know.
We're
I
a contender
mean
as much as anybody else is.
You're a contender for the in-season tournament. That's what I'm asking about. I saw a lot of people on like Twitter. People have been feeling like there's gotten a pretty warm reception to the NBA in-season tournament. And so I'm asking you, because apparently you've been watching.
I have been.
What do you think of the NBA in-season tournament?
I think there's good things about it.
Uh-huh.
I don't really have any cons to it. There's no cons. My pros are the courts are cool. You can tell right when you turn on the TV if it's an in-season tournament game.
It's
vibrant. By the court alone.
Vibrant. I've seen the highlights. The courts are shiny and colorful, and yeah.
It's a lot to handle. I don't love some of the courts, but if you haven't seen them yet, you should Google it because they're pretty crazy.
I saw the highlights from the Sixers game last night. It looked cool.
It's bright red court. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then also, it just gives you another watching interest, another interest to watch. Like for me, the Cavs are just outside of the Eastern Conference play-in right now, pretty much for the in-season tournament. We're like right on the fringe of the wild card. But for some people that don't care about the NBA, this isn't going to make them care about the NBA during the regular season.
It hasn't worked on me.
But I think if you're a fringe fan, like I watch regular season NBA anyway. I watch almost all the Cavs games. And so for me, this is like a little bonus. It's just like another thing to think about as we go through the season. And so like last night, it was an in-season tournament game. It's not always an in-season tournament game, but last night it was. If you're an NBA fan who already watches some of your team, it can be a little extra added bonus, but this isn't getting anybody to watch.
Do you think the players care about it? I think that was a big question.
All the players have said they do because of the prize money.
Well, what are they going to say, though?
Yeah, to me, it's true. But, I mean, it's gotten the players to play enough. I don't know. Last night was a pretty good game.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were playing hard. It's hard to say whether they care or not. Do they care about the playoffs?
Yeah.
Why do they care about the playoffs?
Well, because people actually remember that.
See, but at the same time, if it's just for money, then they're going to get paid the same amount whether they win the playoff games or not.
Yeah, but it's not just about money.
So then my question is, if it's not about money, then why would they have the in-season tournament game? Why is like the championship contender, the winner, getting $500K and not an automatic playoff spot if the playoffs mean so much?
Because the playoffs do mean a lot, and this doesn't mean anything. And so if they put the team that won this in the playoffs, I guess they would have. I mean, doesn't it wrap up in like January?
This finishes in, I believe, end of December.
Yeah. So if you could wrap up your playoff spot in December, why would you play the rest of the regular season?
But then what does this mean? Then it means nothing.
Exactly. I just don't. What I'm saying is the players play for the playoffs because they know it. Like not only.
Well, and I'll say this too. I don't think this is for this isn't even for the players. This is for the fans, the NBA regular season. I mean, all the other European soccer leagues do this. There's a tournament every week.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. And so I think they're just trying anything they can to not be like baseball.
Yeah.
Think about how baseball's fallen off. The NBA could be just like baseball in like 10 years. Baseball, regular season, done. Over. If you're a baseball fan, you're going to watch the games. If you're not a baseball fan, you're never going to tune in to the baseball games. And it's the same thing for the NBA. If you're an NBA fan, you're going to watch them. But they're not getting new fans. This is for 10-year-olds that are excited about the Cavs, and maybe they just started watching this year, and they're like, oh, an in-season tournament, they could win 2 championships in 1 year. That's exciting for young fans, and they're trying to keep that going.
That's a good point. You got to think about the 10-year-olds.
I mean, they want to keep their pride going forever. What 10-year-old right now? I mean, you think about the 10-year-olds that are NBA fans versus 10-year-olds that are MLB fans. Way more 10-year-olds that are NBA fans. That's because of stuff like this.
Yeah, this goofy stuff.
It's what's working. They do the cool. Why do you think they have all these vibrant courts?
Yeah,
you think that's for the 60-year-olds?
No.
That's for 9-year-olds, Joe.
I agree.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
I heard our guy, Big Country, Tyler, comes on after us every day here on Radio U. He was talking about this yesterday, and I've seen a lot of people posting out. We talked about how Joe Biden's birthday, he just turned 81. And have you seen the picture, which has now been turned into a meme, of Joe Biden with his birthday cake?
I can only imagine. I haven't seen this.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it online yet,
this
but
is amazing.
I would love to.
Well, think about it. Joe Biden, before you look at it, Joe Biden just turned 81. So how many candles does he have to have on his cake?
He got a lot of candles.
81 candles. It looks like, I didn't count, but it appears that they put the full 81 on his cake. But it's not like it's a big cake. It's like a little circle, like a 9-inch circle.
Like one
probably.
you could get at Kroger. It's like a little personal cake. You probably eat the whole thing yourself.
Yeah, that's right. And they crammed, whoever did this, crammed 81 candles onto this little tiny cake, which is actually hilarious, but also looks very dangerous because the flames from 81 candles have to be reaching these flames are like 4 or 5 inches high. I'm surprised they're not setting off the sprinklers in the Oval Office.
Yeah, a lot of flame there.
And so people have turned it basically into the old classic "This is fine" meme with the dog.
Oh, yeah.
But now it's Joe Biden because Joe Biden, he's cheesing for the camera. He's all happy, and yet his face is totally illuminated by, I don't know if the lights in the room are on or if it's only the fire.
It's just a flame lit.
Yeah,
it's a flame lit room. Yeah, this is a wild picture. This is easy. This is one of those things that I question too.
Yeah.
Because you know that he doesn't post. We all know
he
that
doesn't care about socials.
He doesn't post on Instagram. He doesn't post on Twitter.
No, he just signed up for Threads.
I'm
for
not
his
even sure if he knows what those things are.
Yeah.
Besides the point, his team is doing this. And you would think that for the president of the United States, they would get a team together that really can read the room, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That has a good feeling of like, should we post this? Could this be made fun of easily?
Yeah.
And it seems as if almost his entire time in office, whoever his PR team is just setting him up for complete failure.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It feels like, you have to know this photo op is not going to be received by so many people as like, oh, happy birthday, Joe. It's, it's just turned into
They never make him look cool. I'll tell you that much either.
Yeah.
They never make him look like he's really.
I don't know. You know, if he wasn't the president, I would think this is cool. But I think because he's the president, you're just opening the door of, that cake, pretty good representation of America right now. Kind of comments.
I think it just opens it up as well for just the whole time. Has anyone not talked about how old he is?
Yeah.
That's what everyone's talked about the whole time. So you're going to post on his birthday, and you're going to make it just as evident as possible that we have someone in office that is just nice and old, which is okay. Whatever.
81 candles on
People
the cake.
voted.
That'll be funny. Yeah.
I would have done maybe one candle. I think. You think Joe Biden's blowing those out? You think he's blowing those candles out? There's not a chance.
No, there's not a chance. I don't think I could blow those candles out. Look at that.
They should have posted a video of him blowing them out.
That would be impressive. See, now that, and then you could turn that into like a powerful thing. But yeah, I don't think, and this is no fault to him. I think he's probably less likely to be able to blow them out than I am, but I also don't think I could blow them out.
Do you think he ate a piece of the cake?
If there was anything left of it.
The icing is probably so melted.
It's got so much wax on it.
You guys need to see this photo. It's not even like it's kind of like, you think about a candle that is lit. It is a tiny little flame on a birthday cake. This is literally, it's on fire. Like, it looks like it's on fire.
Can you imagine Joe Biden? Like, what do you think about this, right? He tries to blow it out, and of course he can't. And he's like, all right, trick candles, real funny, guys. You're like, I haven't seen this in 81 years. And they're like, no, these aren't trick candles. And he just keeps blowing until he faints.
He can't.
Yeah.
It literally looks like if you were singing happy birthday in your kitchen with your family for your little brother's birthday, and this was the cake, your mom would be freaking out.
Yeah.
Because she'd be like, oh my gosh, we need a fire extinguisher. This thing's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
People would stop singing halfway through if it looked like this.
That's right.
It looks like a fire hazard.
It's wild, but I do love it. I do love the picture.
He looks so joyous.
He is happy.
He's about to get a piece of cake.
That's right. Mike Mates.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
A little bit of a debate my wife and I got into yesterday because I was thinking like Thanksgiving coming up, right?
I like how you call it a debate, not an argument.
Well, yeah.
Never got heated.
No, it's not heated.
Darn it.
There was no tempers didn't flare or anything like that, but we did exchange words over my thoughts of this year for Thanksgiving, and I imagine many families do this, right? That you prepare some of the food ahead of time.
My family started preparing last night.
Already started, right?
My dad was peeling potatoes last night.
Yeah. So my wife is going to be making a lot of the food today. And so she was strategizing because otherwise you have like competing for the oven, like trying to time everything. Whereas you can just make a bunch of stuff today leading up to Thanksgiving, refrigerate it and reheat it a lot quicker and easier. And it makes all the food warm at the same time. So she's planning on doing a lot of that stuff today. But it had me thinking that, like, you know, after Thanksgiving, it's so exciting to get leftovers. But when you do it this way, what I said to her is, now we're having leftovers on Thanksgiving.
That's not right.
And she was like, no, they're not leftovers because they have to be left over from something, and they're not left over from something. And I said, well, it's still the same thing. They were cooked beforehand and reheated. And so we got, I guess I don't even know what the question is. But it's just a real.
I think the question is, if it gets put in the microwave, is that automatically a leftover? And do other people do this for Thanksgiving? I don't know. My dad was peeling potatoes last night.
Yeah.
But did they? They didn't make the mashed potatoes last night, did they?
I don't know, but that was the first thing. I mean, we agreed on this, and I'm not upset about it. I just said, but you realize we're having some leftovers on Thanksgiving, and so then when we have the leftovers later, we'll be having leftovers. But.
This just tossed me in a whole circle because now I don't know if my parents will make food yesterday because I don't know how the food making process is. I know the turkey gets put in.
The turkey's got to be on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but I don't know if the cheesy potatoes, and the mashed potatoes, and everything else that we make on Thanksgiving, green bean casserole, is that all just rewarmed?
It depends.
If so, I feel as if that's kind of weird.
Why? I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
I'm not saying that we need to bust our behinds and make it all that morning. I know that'd be hectic.
Uh-huh.
But also I didn't think about it being heated back up because if I imagine heating food back up, I feel like it wouldn't be as good.
Well, that's not always true.
Not with everything, but
usually with like pasta, like everybody says Italian food, like lasagna and chili are the two things that are better the longer you let them sit. But that's what me and my wife, we had to agree, like we were going through like the Thanksgiving plan. What things can you make ahead of time that'll still taste as good when you reheat them? So that, so mashed potatoes was like the first thing that we agreed, like, yeah. Of course. So yeah, I mean, what is the question? If you make it ahead of time and then put it in the microwave, does it count as a leftover? Even if nobody's eaten any.
Is everybody doing this? Is everyone doing this? Or is everybody making it the day of? I'm curious about that.
All right, let's see. Are you making any of your Thanksgiving food before Thanksgiving and then reheating it? 8772 Radio U.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the Riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
The question is, do you make all of your Thanksgiving dinner ahead of time? Because I don't think for me and my family, at least as long as I've been with my wife, I don't think we've really made much of it ahead of time. But this year we decided that just makes sense, actually. But then it threw me for a loop because I was like, wait, then we're eating leftovers on Thanksgiving for Thanksgiving, which is fine. Isaiah just came to this realization, I guess, as well. And so now it's the question, is that what's normal to do, is actually to make a lot of the stuff ahead of time? And apparently, I guess it's unsurprising. The answer is yes. David does say they make it all the day of. But he is the outlier. Dylan says, desserts you definitely make the day before. I'll prepare everything I can the day before. That way, it just needs to be cooked the day of. So even if you're not cooking stuff, you could put like the cold ingredients together.
But that doesn't count.
Because then it's not a leftover when you actually first eat it.
He's prepping. I would prep too.
Yeah.
But it sounds like Dylan's still cooking it. Anything that needs cooked, he's cooking it on Thanksgiving. But desserts, cold, day before.
So he's peeling the potatoes and mashing. No, but not boiling them.
Yep.
Right? Maybe? I don't know. Ben says, I'm making the cranberry sauce tonight. But that's cold, right? You're not reheating that. That's you. I don't usually eat cranberry sauce. Do you? It's definitely served cold, though.
It is, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
As far as I know.
Of that. So that makes sense to prep the day before, of course. He also says that he does Thanksgiving at his sister's house, so it's easier to just make it ahead of time than try to make it at her place. Of course.
Because then you're another guy in the kitchen.
Yeah, and that was another thing I was thinking is a lot of people, like it's people from different households. Of course, if you're bringing something, of course you have to make that the day before, you would think. Philip says, pies, deviled eggs, gravy, and some others are made the day before.
That's still sounding like...
That's all cold stuff, but not gravy. Now, when I was growing up, my family, you could not do the gravy. The gravy was on the last thing because you used the turkey juice until we started deep frying the turkey. You use the turkey juice from which is a weird phrase, turkey juice. My dad would use the turkey juice from the oven to make the gravy. And that was some good gravy. Frog says, stuffing is pretty good a day or two old. Well, I think most of Thanksgiving still, it ages well. It all, like, what part of Thanksgiving, if it's on Tuesday, Giving Tuesday rolls around and you still have leftovers, if it's on Tuesday, maybe it's there because you didn't like it in the first place, but if it's still there, you still got whatever your favorite thing from Thanksgiving is on Tuesday, you're still going to eat it because it still ages well, right?
Regina says it's a mix of what her mother-in-law does, but what it drives her mad is her family puts the food out uncovered on the table, so it sits for at least 15 minutes, a little cold by the time they get to it.
That's no good.
Regina, don't be afraid to put your mother-in-law in place.
Yeah, right. Have a little talking to. You know what you do, Regina? You just bring your own roll of tin foil and start putting that out.
Just on top.
Yeah, you're just the tin foil
that's so
police.
passive-aggressive.
Yeah. No, but is it not worth it, though?
That could be your job.
Yeah.
Once they sit down, be like, you know what? We're just going to put this on here for now.
Let them argue their side after you start doing that. They'd be like, what are you doing?
You want it to be cold?
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
You just thought it would be nice to have warm. You'd be real passive aggressive. Just thought it'd be nice to have the Thanksgiving dinner be warm when we eat it.
Isaiah says they got it all done yesterday.
Dang.
He's ready to roll.
You go get her.
He must have a lot of food cooking up.
Yeah.
What about this? I think about this as well. What would you rate your Thanksgiving?
What do you mean?
Like you said, you're cooking things right now.
Yeah.
Are you thinking tomorrow? Like you're feeling top tier?
As far as
when you comp
my preparedness level, or compared to other people's Thanksgiving,
compared to when your parents do it, because it sounds like you're doing Thanksgiving just yourself.
Yeah. My wife is in charge of it. Mm-hmm.
How do you think it's going to comp to your mom and dad's? Well, the rest of the fam.
I guess it would be hard for me to answer this without possibly making somebody feel bad. I think my wife does a really good job with all the sides, but what I will say is my parents would deep fry a turkey.
Oh, you're not doing that, are you?
Yeah, we don't have a deep fryer of that caliber. So
it'll be different.
No matter how good my wife did with a roast turkey, it wouldn't be as good.
I never had a deep fried turkey.
Oh, I can't believe we've never done that.
We should do it here on the show.
Yeah, we should. Get my dad to bring his fryer.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Text in at 8772 Radio U if you've got a good Would You Rather Wednesday question. We got a wild one today from DJ. Would you rather be a low-level reality TV star or be Amish?
It's a wild comparison here.
Full Amish, but it's a tough one for me. I haven't made up my mind yet. I've had a little time to prepare here because I knew this question was coming. I haven't made up my mind. Low-level reality TV star. We're not talking. You're not a winner of Survivor. You're on like some ripoff of Real Housewives. You gotta grind, I feel, to stay relevant, to stay very, very vaguely relevant to people. You're not making a lot of money off of it, but that's who you are. Or you could be Amish. Live without so many of the modern comforts that we enjoy. Which side are you taking? 8772 Radio U.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah. I know you have aspirations to be a big-time reality TV star.
But the question here is more of like, it's not like the hustle and grind of being a reality TV star versus being Amish.
Uh-huh.
It's would you want to live your life in the limelight
Yeah.
and stress about all the hard stuff that comes with that,
Yeah.
or live yourself in complete technological
Yeah.
isolation?
Yeah. You got Amish anonymity or reality TV life where everything is constant, like your life is content. And
Everybody's outside your house taking pictures of you,
Mhm.
trying to catch you doing something silly.
But it's not even everybody. It's like two people because you're not that relevant to where everybody cares.
But you're on the edge of it. Any time you could
Yep.
get exposed,
That's right.
get canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine being a low-level reality TV star and then getting canceled. I mean, what a
Ugh.
kick in the knee.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just kicking you while you're down.
This
You
is
haven't even made that much money yet, and you're being canceled.
it's a
Or
t-
you're just Amish.
Yeah. But once you accept that you're Amish, like you just know what you're in for, I believe. The risk reward is there's not a wide gap, of being Amish where
No Amish person's ever been canceled. I'll tell you that.
I guess not. Except by the Amish themselves.
True.
If they
You could get risk
Yeah.
of getting kicked out.
But when you're a reality TV star, there's a big risk reward there.
Embarrassing your whole family. But also, that could go for the Amish as well.
8772 Radio U. Which would you choose? Be a low-level reality TV star or be Amish for Would You Rather Wednesday? We'll find out what people are saying coming up next.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Not too far away this Tuesday. Today, all about giving back to organizations, nonprofits that make a difference, make a positive impact, including Radio U. You can find out more at radiou.com. When I tell you my jaw hit the floor when I started reading about this, did you know that there are certain Facebook groups where parents, particularly moms, will use these groups to arrange meetups? Some call them play dates for their children that are in college.
That's a tough one.
It's
The tough Facebook group.
it is I mean, I'm looking at it right now. These groups where parents can get together, they can be like, "Hey, Johnny at University of Chicago doesn't really hang out with anybody that I know of. Do you guys have kids that are also at University of Chicago that might want to meet up, do something with Johnny?" It's an actual thing.
See, I would say this sounds a little wild, but I'm going to try to justify it, right?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I think that maybe when they're first making the transition
Mm-hmm.
from high school to college, there could be some reason for that there.
Justification. Okay.
Yes, of like my kid's going to, let's say he's going to Illinois,
Yeah.
and their mom's in a Facebook group with other people whose kids go into Illinois, and you're like, oh yeah, my kid Johnny likes this, this, and that. You could introduce them when they first go.
Okay.
But once
That's
they're
a
there,
first.
you got to let them go.
Yeah.
You got to let them do their thing.
Let them spread
can
their
say-
wings.
You can say, here's this kid, this kid, this kid, whatever. They can introduce when they first get there, like the
Mhm.
welcome week. That way they feel like they have a couple friends when they first arrive. That's okay. But when you're like a sophomore, when you're a junior, They got to be hands off. They got to just do it themselves.
This goes much deeper than that. Obviously, it's not. It's setting up meetups and play dates. I mean, they're calling them play dates, but I mean, we're talking about kids in college. So these are grown people. I don't know what kind of playing they're doing.
Call them hangouts.
Hangouts. They're arranging hangouts for their college student children on their behalf. They're also, it goes further than that, though. They'll also, like, for example, use these groups so parents can locate restaurants that would be suited to their child's dietary requirements. So it could be like, again, this is a thing. It looks like at the University of Chicago. So it'd be like, hey, Johnny's going to the University of Chicago. He can't eat any gluten. What are the best gluten-free restaurants? And I'll forward these along to him.
Not with that either.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is it, you think this is more of a problem with the parents or the kids?
Parents, 100% the parents.
Do you think they're helicopter parents?
Yes, way too much. Because they got to realize, right?
Mm-hmm.
That on college campuses, there are a million events going on every single day.
Mm-hmm.
For people to meet each other. That's like literally there's lots of people who are organizing events every day to meet other students, to make friends, to do whatever. All you have to do is go to those. So if you're willing to go to those, then you don't need the meetups.
It sounds like these kids, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like these kids, these college students, they aren't taking the initiative themselves. They don't want to go out and do this stuff. Or they just know that their parents are going to take care of it, you know? Like, I don't have to, I'm not comfortable meeting somebody on my own, but if mom sets me up, then sure. I'll do whatever mommy says.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. I'll tell you right now, you can't be doing that.
I'm sure the parents
and if you're the parent, what kind of parenting is that?
Yeah. It's, you know what? I bet you a lot of these kids, these college students, they're the eldest child.
We just had a text come in, and then Johnny comes back after college and never leaves his parents' house.
Exactly. This is, I think it's partly on the kids, partly on moms not being able to let go. You know?
Yeah.
You got to kick them out of the nest like a baby bird. Let them sink or swim on their own.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, RadioU.
Have you ever seen anything Fargo related, Isaiah?
I have not.
There's a movie, and we are now on season 5 of the show. If you haven't seen the movie from the 90s, one of the best movies, that is probably on my Mount Rushmore of best movies of all time. It is a great movie.
From 96, huh?
Yeah, you should definitely watch that. A good wintertime movie, too. There's a new season of Fargo that's coming out here. I think the premiere just premiered. I got to catch up. I've missed a few of the seasons of the show.
Some pretty good actors.
Yeah. It had the first season of the show is great too. Billy Bob Thornton in it. Amazing.
Chris Rock.
Fantastic. Yeah, Chris Rock is in
Freeman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kirsten Dunst.
Bob Odenkirk.
Ewan McGregor. It's been great. The new season is just kicked off. John Hamm is in it, another one of my favorites. And he has made headlines because in the trailer for the show, and then obviously in the show as well, he appears shirtless in a hot tub. And in the hot tub, he has pierced nipples.
Oh.
But he doesn't actually have pierced nipples. And so it's raised the conversation that there's somebody's job for this show and in Hollywood in general their job is to make it look like his nipples are pierced even though they're not pierced.
What a wild career.
Isn't that crazy? They're calling this person a nippleologist even though that's not their actual name or not their actual title. Put that on your resume. Nippleologist. I've worked with the likes of John Hamm.
For Fargo.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good resume.
This is about as high as you could probably go if you are a nippleologist, though.
You're not going any farther than that, yeah.
This is as good as it gets. You're at the zenith
How would you
of your
fake
career.
that? I mean, I guess.
I have the info right here that what they had to do is put some blue latex on his nipples and then they had to make it. So they used the blue latex to make a cast of his nipples, and so then they had to create a lifelike pair of nipples that they pierced and then placed over his actual nipples.
So he's wearing fakes.
Yeah, and then with like the power of makeup, they gave him prosthetic nipples over top of his actual nipples.
Doesn't sound like it's that hard to do. I'll be honest.
Oh, so you want to try it?
I don't want to try it, but I'm saying that that's a pretty easy explanation.
Yeah, I guess it actually is.
I assumed it was, first thing I went to was like some sort of green screen thing.
They could have done that too, maybe. Another option might have been put green screens on his actual nipples, and then
That's what I thought right away. But
yeah,
they went with the fake route. I like that even better.
but yeah, that you know what I mean. We just spent a short amount of time thinking about this, but somebody's livelihood, their job, is thinking about these kind of problems on a daily basis.
And you got to think too. That's like one of the top funniest job title names you can think of.
Yeah, nippleologist.
People ask you what your job is. You're
Mhm.
introducing yourself to a lady. She said, "What do you do for work?" And then she has to go tell you start dating somebody. She has to tell her parents, "What's he do for work?" Fake nipples.
Yeah, he's worked to the likes of John Hamm on Fargo.
Wouldn't be my first choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I think some people might be impressed by it.
Yeah, but some people would.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
Have you ever had a real tree?
We have done a real tree many a times when I was growing up.
Yeah, not anymore.
I don't know if my parents are going to do a real tree. Probably not, because they don't have us to help them go
Mhm.
get it. They're real busy around this time.
You know what? A few people find out, it looks like every year, if these would be people that are getting their real tree for the very first time in their lives, is that some people have what is called Christmas tree syndrome, where an actual Christmas tree could send you into anaphylactic shock. Basically, I guess you're allergic to whatever, the pollen, whatever's in a Christmas tree. And you wouldn't realize that until that Christmas tree is inside your home when you've already spent your hard-earned money and now all the pollen and everything is inside your home and you got to go to the hospital. Pretty scary stuff.
It's estimated about 7% of the population suffers from this allergy.
That's pretty high.
But don't you think you'd know by now?
Apparently not, because, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, there's got to be people. You grew up with an artificial tree, and then you get out, you're on your own, you're married or whatever. It's like, you know what I'd like to do this year? You know, I never got to do as a child. I want my first ever real tree. Until you have a real tree, I don't think you know how much it actually is worse than a fake one. So there's got to be people every year that do this. And, I'm seeing stories about them here that they're real excited to get that real tree for the very first time and not realizing that it actually could potentially put them in a hospital or worse.
I've been seeing a lot of TikToks recently because people are getting their trees.
Yeah.
And they say that for a lot of couples, if this is their first time getting a real Christmas tree together,
Mhm.
also is a good relationship test.
Is it?
Oh, that's what they're saying. I've seen many a TikTok saying, we almost broke up due to having to go get this darn Christmas tree because it's so stressful to go get it. And then get it in your house and set it up, and it's just a lot of
Yeah.
work.
It's not nowhere near as easy as an artificial tree.
Have you and Angela ever done a real one?
No, because we're not stupid.
Because you don't want to have to end things.
This is how bad it is.
You
This
wanna
is-
stay together.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, my dad, and I hate to just rail. I hope his,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. This is funny.
my dad works at a Christmas tree farm. If he said,
What a betrayal.
if
That's
he
unreal.
said to me, I will get you a free real Christmas tree, whichever one you want, the nicest one in this farm, I'd say, no, I don't want it. We did have real trees a couple times when I was growing up. But I wouldn't want one now. It's too much. Why would I do that? Why would I want a tree that I have to chop down potentially,
It's about
bag
the
up,
fun. It's about the fun.
haul on my car, bring inside the house, get needles everywhere, then have to put the lights on it somehow, and on top of decorate, keep it watered, make sure it doesn't dry out, and then chuck it out, and then try to chuck it out at the curb one day when there's sap and there's needles.
The traditional Christmas.
Trying to actually get it to stand up in the stand, that's an underrated thing that's not as easy as you think, from what I remember. When an artificial tree is just so easy, and then you just get some candles, you can simulate the smell, it's good enough.
It's a tradition thing. For some people, it's a real, I know my roommate, his family always gets a real tree, and they have a real big, high-ceiling living room.
Yeah.
They go and get a humongous tree. And so that's like a big tradition for them.
Yeah.
It's about the Christmas season. There's a lot of work goes into it, but, the memories are created.
Yeah.
Some of them good, most of them bad.
I don't fault anybody. If you enjoy having a real Christmas tree, that's your thing, but I think it's insane.
Maybe you're just not Christmassy enough.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.